Welcome to another video. Now, in previous video, I'd shown you how to use autoplot from within the Datamallet library to create automatic data visualizations. Now here, I'm going to also show you other functionality where you can go ahead and create just a specific type of chart that you want. And in this case, is scatterplots. So let me create a markdown here and just give you the title here, creating scatterplots using Datamallet. Okay, so for that, within the Datamallet library, there is the visualization module and there is the plot module. And so the plot module contains functions for creating scatter plots, creating box plots. Of course, there's also if you don't want to do that specifically, you could just import the autoplot class and that would create everything for you. So we have our data set. In this case, we're using the tips data set, so I can show you the head of it and we can see what that looks like. Okay, I know a lot of people are actually familiar with this, so I'm not going to spend time discussing it, but it is a very common data set. Okay, now that we have this, right, next thing is let's go ahead and create our scatter plots. Now, if you're familiar with Plot the Express, you know how you can create scatter plots using pure Plotly Express, and I have a video on that. If you don't know how to do it, I have a video on that I can show you. But here you see we have 1, 2, 3. We have three numeric columns, and if we're to create, we'll first of all probably create this with this and this with this and then this with this. You probably end up using the for loop in some kind of way. But in this case, the create scatter function, let me just copy it from here, really helps to streamline that process. Okay, so let me show you some of the options which you can specify. So for this, you can specify a bunch of things. You can specify what you want on the marginal axis, what you want on the width, height, marginal y-axis, whether you want logarithm on x and y, what orientation you want, and things like this. Now, all of these options are actually also available for when you use the autoplot class. But yeah, so let's get each of this one by one, and I'll show you how you can do it. Okay, now let's also import one of my helper functions, say from datamallet.tabular. We want to import extract column types. Okay, so let me use this function here. So what this create scatter needs, it needs for you to specify okay, I need to run this again, my bad. Now what this extract column type does is, once you provide in the data frame, it tells you, okay, what columns are numeric. So in this case, we have these 3 as numeric. It says these others are object columns. Now, we don't have any Boolean data here. We don't have any categorical data. We don't have date time and time delta. And this function is actually very instrumental to other parts of this library. So let me just show you how I use this. Okay, we can print it out like we've done. Okay, so we have this now. So for us to create this, we can go ahead and say df, which is short for data frame. We can specify our data frame. Next, we can specify our column types. can specify what file name we want it to be called. Of course, you can call it anything. The only thing is we need it to be a string. You don't need to put any extension there. Oh, my bad, I did something there. I can specify, let me just copy all of these options and I'll tell you what each of them actually do. Okay, we do this. So you can specify what you want the width to be. Most people, you can just leave it at none. So these are some of the default values. Now for your marginal, there are pretty much three options. Do you want box plots? Do you want rug plots? Do you want violin? So let's just say for marginal, we want box. And I can show you when we come here. For marginal on the x-axis, you can specify what we want there. Let's say for our y, we want this. For our x, let's say we want rug plots. Okay, let's say we don't want logarithmic axis. This is fine. If we want to put something as a size column, so for size column you can specify, a numeric column that you want to use to denote the size. So in this case we could just use total bill, but of course you can also leave it as none. That's fine. You can specify what opacity you want. Now this maximum color groups, what it is just a setting for you to say, okay, how many different kinds of colors do you want to see in your chart? So what's the maximum number? You can set it to be whatever you want. I think 5 is a good default. We can change it to 8. That's fine. And yeah, let's pass in, let's say, list of figures equals to this, and let's just make everything look pretty now. That's what we're doing, just making it look pretty. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, yeah, so this is it. By the way, the two compulsory things which we just had to specify was this data frame and the column types, and then every other thing would be fine. I was just showing you what each attribute means in case you wanted to specify yourself. Okay, so once we run this, we should have all our visuals, and we should see like an HTML file show up on this side with the name scatter. Okay, that's our file there. Now that's one way in which you can view it. You can also view your outputs here. So you can say for figure in list of figures, you could do fig.show. Now, the reason why this is going to work is because what this function, this create scatter, does is it creates a list of plotly chart objects, plotly graph objects. And so what we are doing here is essentially just calling the show method on there. So yeah, we should see the outputs here. Just give it some time. You can see here what you have. You can see the output here. Okay, you can see all the possible charts. So let's just open the HTML file directly. If you're in the notebook environment, you can just click to trust and give it some time. Now what we have here is we have a plot of the total bill versus tip and colored by the gender. Now you'd notice when we go back here, there was no place where we specified, okay, this is what I want you to color it by. No, we didn't do that. But instead what we did was we specified, okay, what's the maximum number of colors I want to see in my chart? And we said we want 8. Okay, and that's what we did here. But you'd notice it still went ahead and created these charts with the different colors. So you have total bills versus tip with the color of sex. We have total bill versus tip with the color of smoker. Now, what this behind the scene, what this function actually does is it goes ahead and looks for every column that is, categorical, that is object, and if it meets a certain criteria, which is encoded within, the code, it decides, okay, I want to plot this versus this with this color. And now, because here we specified, okay, we want box plots on our y-axis and we want rock plots on our x-axis. That's why we have all of this up here. We could have easily come back here and specify that we do not want it. So this is how you automatically create scatter plots using Datamallet. I feel like this is a very important use case that I can see a bunch of people actually using. It's nothing much to that. The thing with this library is I did put it with a lot of good default values. So even if we just specified the data frame and the column types, that would have been it. That would have been good enough. So yeah, this is it. So thank you very much for coming here. If you like this content, please tell me in the comments, like and subscribe, and watch out for more videos on this library that will be coming out to you. Thank you.